Friends, we got a lot going on this weekend. I'm going to bring you up to date on what's going on here in the United States as well as around the world. We have a Tyson chicken processing plant that exploded. The whole plant shut down. How will that impact store shelves? We'll discuss that. We got courts going after the IRS for government overreach. We got Slovakia, the country, firing back at Ukraine and threatening to plunge them into darkness in the dead of winter. We get the Taliban launching a winter offensive and invading Pakistan, because of course we do. We got the Canadians negotiating tariffs with the new Trump administration. We got a TikTok ban we need to discuss. And what's really going on, what's really in Fort Knox, that and more. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are the updates that you guys are sending in, as well as news about what's going on in the world, stuff that you oftentimes will not hear from the mainstream media. And you certainly probably don't like the spin that they always are throwing on it. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's start off here with Tyson. There's a Tyson chicken processing plant. This is sent in by one of our viewers, Real. Camilla, Georgia. Chicken processing plant caught fire after a boiler exploded. They share that they live about 9 miles from there. That happened at 5:30 a.m. yesterday morning. One person didn't make it, and several others were seriously injured. Like I said, this is a boiler explosion. 1,600 workers have been basically told not to show up to work. This is going to impact chicken, at least in areas around Georgia. And depending on how long it stays shut down, this is a major chicken processing plant. I'm not sure exactly the products that they make there, so we may see some kinds of chicken products go missing in the coming weeks. But we'll keep you updated on that as things play out. I imagine they want to get that factory going again, and the workers need to get to work, but they do want to make sure it's safe first. Courts have overturned the overturning of the suspension of the idiotic IRS rule requiring companies and nonprofits to register the BOI reporting. So it's now reblocked, so you don't have to do it. Yes, it's whiplash. It's like, yes, no, no, yes. I fully expect that when the Trump administration gets into office, that they're going to permanently kibosh this. So it looks like that ban is going to hold until Trump gets into office, at which time I believe that at least the penalties are going to go away. So as a tax accountant, I would suggest watching and waiting. Let it do its thing, and I will keep you updated, and I will let you know if they suddenly make it required again, which would just be super frustrating for everybody. It's already super frustrating, and then they made it more frustrating somehow. Hand it to the IRS to just take the worst possible thing and make it 10 times worse. Anyway, Trump has filed a brief with the Supreme Court of the United States requesting them to suspend the TikTok ban, which is supposed to go into effect January 15th. Have the Supreme Court suspend it until he can personally negotiate to resolve the security and privacy issues that surround TikTok. Once again, if you're not familiar with this, the reason why Congress moved on this in the first place and the administrations is because TikTok servers are physically in China. So all of the information that you're giving it is being logged on Chinese government and military servers. So if you watch anything on TikTok, they know what you watched, for how long, what you liked, what you commented. All that information is being sucked up into China's military intelligence community. Now, the United States does all that kind of garbage, but the idea is we don't want China doing that to American citizens. So, and the idea is that until the Chinese, don't have those servers in their country anymore, it's going to get shut down. So they have to be bought out by a U.S. entity and basically have their servers moved over to somewhere more friendly. That's kind of what's at stake and what's being discussed. And of course, remember, you got a generation of kids who have pulled out their cell phone and started recording a video. Any video that they uploaded went to Chinese servers. Any video at all. Whether they immediately took it down, or I think you can actually upload it and then not make it public. Any videos that they uploaded, any videos that they watched, anything that they typed. You can just imagine just down the road that the Chinese suddenly leak a document of private comments that that this person made on TikTok or personally messaged people on TikTok. It's that kind of stuff that's pretty scary. And you know that the United States and Western intelligence agencies do that exact same thing, to blackmail, to coerce, to try to get people to do what they want them to do. This whole thing is a mess. All of social media, and people need to be reminded, everything you do on the internet is public. Even if it doesn't seem that way, even if it has the illusion of privacy, it's not private. Please remember that. All right, a court has blocked the Biden administration's attempted sale of the border wall sections. We talked about that before. A whole bunch of people raised a hoopla about that because it was absolutely insane. They're selling some sections of the border wall for $5. Stuff that took maybe hundreds of dollars. Well, probably hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars to construct. And the Biden administration is spending hundreds of dollars to move those sections so that they can sell them for $5. Like, literally would have been cheaper just to leave them where they were. But no, the idea is to get rid of these sections so it makes it harder for the Trump administration to build the wall. So a court has stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. And the Biden administration has acknowledged that court order and has stopped those sales. We did hear out there that Texas was saying that they were going to buy up all the sections and keep them where they were and then just donate them back to the federal government. But hopefully that's not necessary, and this stupidity has been stopped. All right, speaking of stupidity, Slovakia has had enough with Ukraine. Slovakia is just done with the stupidity that's coming out of Ukraine. Ukraine has basically said on January 1st that they're going to stop all natural gas flows through their country from Russia, and a lot of them go into Slovakia. And Slovakia is saying, well, if you won't let the natural gas flow into our country, we're not going to let the electricity flow into your country. Now, about 19%, and this was before we're going to talk about the Christmas attacks by Russia against the power grid, but before those attacks, about 19% of the power in Ukraine that's being used was coming from Slovakia. Now, a lot of that's passing through Slovakia from other European countries, but Slovakia is like, you don't let gas come to us, we're not going to let power come to you. And so that's a whole, kerfluffle happening out there. This is the dead of winter. The Ukrainians need that for heat, but the Slovakians also need that gas to keep prices down for heat as well as for industry. So this comes right after Prime Minister Fico just got back from a meeting in Moscow with Vladimir Putin. So a lot of people kind of seeing the hand in that. I wouldn't be surprised if Putin said to Fico, use this as leverage. You have the power coming across your border. Use that as leverage to get the gas turned back on. But, we have people calling Fico basically a Putin puppet, when in fact Fico is really just fighting for his country's interests. So this is the word from Zelensky. I have instructed our officials to work together with the European Commission and all our European partners to do everything possible to maintain the stability of the unified European electrical system and uphold European energy rules. Whatever Putin may have told Fico during his visit to the Kremlin, European rules must prevail over the ties of any individual with Moscow. This was on Twitter, so obviously anyone who disagrees with Zelensky is a Putin puppet. And because I've said Zelensky's name like 4 times, that means we need to be giving Ukraine like $1.2 billion or so. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Just in time for Christmas, the United States is going to give another $1.25 billion of new weapons gifts to Ukraine. Now, I think it's important to put this in context. The United States alone, since the beginning of the war, has given Ukraine more money than the Russian Defense Ministry has spent over the whole time period. Just the United States, not talking about any of the European people giving money and all the other countries supporting and stuff like that. Just the United States. We have put more money into Ukraine than the Russian military has spent for defending their whole country and the war. And Ukraine's still losing. We'll leave that one there. Russia, over Christmas, unleashed a brutal attack on the Ukrainian power grid, which has made things even worse. Though I will say that his conversation with FICO, suggesting that they use power as their leverage, and then immediately launching airstrikes on power plants and such across Ukraine and transformers, that's kind of like a little bit of a stab in the back to FICO to make him look more like a stooge. That's well played, Russia. Well played. Slovakia Prime Minister is just trying to pull that knife out of his back right about now. It's just messy. It's messy, and just the thing I just keep coming back to is, this isn't our mess. Why is the United States neck deep in this? Like, why is this? It's horrible. But, I mean, I could get a map out here and show you a bunch of other horrible places on the planet. I mean, what's happening in South Sudan and Darfur is worse, you know? But nobody in the United States is like, oh, we need to help those people. Apparently because they're white and because they got energy stuff, America cares, and we're all supposed to care. But then, like, we look at, Democratic People's Republic of Congo, we don't have to care about that. We don't have to care about the mass concentration and death camps in North Korea. Why? Because they don't have any gas and they're not white. I'm sorry, am I being too cynical and too straightforward? Because that's exactly what it is. So anyone is like, oh, well, we have a moral obligation because bad things are happening there. It's like, well, there's lots of bad things happening all over the world. Okay? Lots of bad things happening all over the world. There's conflicts that you haven't even heard about. But nobody cares about that. The United States is not involved there because no gas and wrong skin pigmentation. And also the fact is that the reason why we're really there, is covering up a certain person and his son's indiscretions there. Not to mention possible indiscretions by our country with biolabs and stuff. That's all the stuff that's happening there. I mean, Ukraine has been a playground for the CIA for decades. And am I speaking too much truth? I probably am. All right. Hopefully this channel will be here tomorrow. Russian forces have gained ground in many locations all along the battlefront, and they are now close to encircling 2 critical supply hubs. Coming a little closer to home here, the United States government debt limit is projected to be hit as early as January 14th, which will set off an immediate government shutdown as Trump comes into office. So Thank you, congressional Republicans, for absolutely nothing. They've literally set up a massive crisis to happen just as the Trump administration walks into the office. I mean, the Democrats couldn't be happier. This is going to cause significant problems, political turmoil, and it's just going to be a whole big mess because the Republicans couldn't do what they needed to do. Taliban, because I guess they're bored, decided to invade Pakistan, the Taliban of Afghanistan. There's a disputed border region called the Durand Line, and so the Taliban decided to go across the Durand Line with a whole bunch of troops and started seizing command posts, massacring border guards, and burning those border posts. So obviously this is going to escalate things. I imagine the Pakistani army is going to be heading up there very shortly, and it's going to become a big brouhaha. So there'll be news coming out about that shortly, I imagine. Pakistan doesn't usually take these type of things laying down. So, and this is a report from one of you guys. I'm going to pass this along. I've heard these type of things off and on here and there, and I imagine you have too, but this is from someone from our community. This is from Linda. Steve, regarding Fort Knox. My father-in-law told us before he passed, he told us nothing was inside. Surprise. That's Linda from Reno. He was a wonderful Christian man. Yeah, we've heard that from people. Deathbed confessions and such. Apparently they were under non-disclosure agreements and all sorts of sanctions if they were to share any of that information. But as those people have gotten to that age, we're hearing more and more about that. Basically, the whole gold in Fort Knox is one big scam. Doesn't surprise us, but if that actually were proven, would cause a lot of financial problems for the United States, in addition to all the debt and the government shutdowns and all that kind of stuff. All right, friends, just keeping you informed out there. Let us know what you guys are seeing out there. Make sure you keep your updates coming in if you're seeing things at your store, hearing things at your workplace, or if you're talking to people who have insider information on stuff. Pass it along. Make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, they help people who have retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds and get into something safe, like physical metals like silver, gold, platinum. If you want to find out more about that, just fill out the form there and you'll have a chat with them and you get your questions answered and you can decide whether or not you want to move forward with them. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.